morning and thank you for joining us on Good Morning Sri Lanka on Wednesday, the 22nd of May. And of course, this morning we have with us someone who's been on the show before. She's been on the show to talk about children, but in different capacities every day. We've got with us Childcare Guru Arundhati Sivagurunathan in the studio with us, and we'd like to say thank you for joining us and good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. And so we'll start off again. You've been here before and we've talked about different things, but today we're going to cover a couple more topics. I know a lot of mums and perhaps even dads out there have just packed their kids off to school and hopefully sitting back and watching this because we have a little bit of advice for you. And I know a lot of people are full of advice on how to bring up children. There's no manual on it, but hopefully this will give you a little bit more insight in how to control things and how to work things out. So we'll start off with a fairly broad-based topic: how to raise good children. Now I know that's a little bit of a tough one to start off with, but how do you?
Well, as you said, it's like $1 million question, isn't it? How to raise good children. This is what all parents want to do. And most of the time parents get really stressed out trying to make sure the kids are so good and they're going to be loyal citizens. But as I said before, there is no theory or practice where you say that, you know, one size fits all kind of parenting method, because every parent is different. We need to keep this in mind. And I personally believe it's about parenting is what you have inside. It's what you're teaching your child more than what you're trying to think of their more academic side of it. It's more personality which you bring out is important, right? So theoretical wise, they say to follow 4 steps, which is of course IQ, development of IQ, that is their academics, their reading, their general knowledge. All these things are very important. Then it's the EQ. EQ is basically called the emotional quality, which we need to focus and bring out of a child, because sometimes we lack this because we focus on the IQ most of the time. And giving awareness to a child of the social intelligence, how they cope up outside the world, how they go and talk to people, be with people, that is also very important. And we're wrapping it up, I guess it's how to build their character. And that is a very important thing, how to make them compassionate, be kind, to respect others. So overall, these are a lot of steps parents have to look into when they're raising their kids.
I believe we have a video on this as well, so maybe we can take a look at that and then come back and talk about this. Okay, so statistics there are the 2025, that's quite a number. But a lot of really good advice, but obviously a little hard, and I'm sure parents out there thinking, what do these people know? Do they even know what it's like to be a parent? I honestly can say I don't, but I'm sure as someone who works with works in the business of of children, of educating children, it must be quite challenging when parents come and they have certain concerns. But it's also very difficult to enact all of these things that are put forward, and have family meetings, teach them this, teach them these values. How does someone really make sure that this process works for them, for the family?
Well, that's what I said, that it's all about you sometimes. It's about how you look at parenting. Right? Maybe you cannot follow each step every day, but the most important thing is how involved you are in your child's life and how you really know your child. Because sometimes parents think they know their children, but they don't. It's how involved you are, and try to get the best out of them. And most of the key is to role model. You need to role model as an example to get the best out of your children.
Another complaint that parents have is that their kids don't help around the house. It can be from someone who's quite young, and most, I'm talking about slightly older children, obviously, when you go to the teenagers, they don't do anything around the house. We never got them. And then if you look back, it's realistic that they've never actually been involved in anything in the house, and they've kind of been given their own space, and beyond that they've done very little. So how does a parent involve their children in helping around the house and doing all of those things on a day-to-day basis? How does that work?
It has to start when they're really young. you cannot do it when they're teenagers. It's impossible. By that time, by that time they've just got used their whole cozy life and they don't want to budge. So you have to start when the child is about 3+ or even 2, because at that age children are very curious and they would love to help you out. So what happens is, from our hands sometimes we think they're just too small, we don't want to stress them out, we don't want to give them things to do because you feel sad or sorry they are so small. But if you don't start the habit when they are that young, it is very difficult to teach them to help you out, because I feel we need to look at giving a child things to do is not about getting work done, but teaching them what work is.
And teaching them a responsibility and how to do something and execute it. And
exactly, and they need then they realize that it's not always adults who need to work, that they have to start that age. It's an ethic they should learn. It's a habit, and actually it gives them a huge sense of order. Because when you have clutter in the house and you are just not focused, and the main rule is self-sufficiency. Everyone needs to do their stuff by themselves.
So you have to start young. Parents, don't complain that your teenagers aren't self-sufficient, that they need everything done for themselves. It's only because you haven't pushed them hard enough to do those things on their own. You touched on work ethic and how important that is. It's not just adults, children also need to understand that. So let's talk a little bit more about good work ethics with children.
Well, the work ethic starts with introducing them the daily routines of life, as you said, washing up, cleaning up. Then they understand what work is, right? Then when you come to work ethics, you need to start with the goal of their studies. That should be your goal, where you tell them, you work hard enough, then you achieve something, right? So it's always about giving them consistency plus completion equals success. It's not always about always telling them to do this, do that. And you have to tell them, if you don't work hard, there is always consequences. You are not going to succeed the way you want. So work ethics is always very important to teach a child. Then they know exactly how hard and how important work is to them.
In a practical sense, what are the kinds of little things that, for maybe a parent with a young child, what are the kinds of things that you can allow your child to do around the house? Say if it's a chore, as simple as that, something that they can do, but obviously parents are a little apprehensive. They'd much rather if their children are playing and or watching television for that matter. But what can they do? What are the little things that they can do, practical sense?
Well, it has to be age appropriate, obviously, but a child young as 2 or 3, you could get them starting, pick up their toys after them, pick up their stuff after them, keep everything in place. Whatever they took, keep it in place. And when you're looking at kids like 5 or 6, they understand. They can understand what's going on, and they know this is the routine in their house. So you can get them to do things like, lay the table out, help wash up, hang the clothes. I mean, that's nothing wrong. And as you said about, parents thinking, playing in the garden or getting them to relax watching TV. It's not that we are punishing them with these things. Chores are important to a child because, as I said, the goal is independence. The mother and father can't always be doing these chores for them. And as you said, they complain. When they're teenagers, when they go out to the world, they are just lost. They're completely lost. They don't know how to look after themselves.
And children quite like being involved, I think. It's just parents who keep them away from doing certain things. Even things like cooking, which I know most parents gasp when they hear cooking. How do you get? But children are very experimental. And you want to try things out, and they want to do things. So maybe if not, if you don't want to, give them the washing or a broom, perhaps you can, help out in the kitchen and things like that, because it's an interesting space to be in, right?
But the overall thing is we need to give them a try out at everything. You cannot make them feel that sweeping or doing your laundry is lesser than cooking. They need to know how to live by themselves. This is what we are teaching them, right? Even if we have help at home, or if you have everyone at your beck and call, it's your duty to teach them how to live by yourself. So I feel they should give them a chance at everything.
giving your children an opportunity to really grow up into being good citizens is what we're talking about today. We have a lot more in this conversation with Arundhati, but we need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into all of that in just a bit.